The revolving glass doors spun slowly as Darius stepped into the grand marble lobby of the Belmont, a five-star luxury hotel nestled in the heart of the city. The chandeliers sparkled overhead, polished to perfection, and a faint scent of citrus and eucalyptus lingered in the air, just as he'd designed it. He paused a moment, adjusting the strap of his weekend bag over his shoulder. His outfit was clean and understated. Dark jeans, a crisp white tee, and a lightweight olive jacket. Not flashy, not loud, just normal. Apparently, too normal. Behind the sleek marble reception desk, two hotel staff members glanced up, their eyes immediately narrowing. One of them, a young man in a navy vest and stiff posture, leaned toward his colleague and muttered something under his breath. The other one stifled a laugh. Darius caught it. He'd seen it before. He'd grown up with it, moved through it, built empires in spite of it. But that didn't make it any less tiring. He approached the desk calmly. "Good afternoon," he said, checking in. "The name's Darius King." The receptionist's smile was practiced but brittle. He tapped on the keyboard half-heartedly, barely glancing at the screen. "King, you said?" he asked, as if skeptical. "Yes." The man squinted theatrically at the monitor. I'm not seeing anything here. Did you book through a third-party site or something?" "No," Darius replied, keeping his tone even. "Booked directly through corporate, under my profile." The receptionist clicked around lazily, then shrugged. "Still nothing. You sure you have the right Belmont Hotel? There's one near the airport. Or maybe you're looking for the Marigold across the street?" Darius raised an eyebrow. This is the correct location." The second receptionist, a woman with a tight bun and tighter expression, interjected without looking up. "We've had a lot of confusion with online bookings lately." "Happens all the time." Behind Darius, the security guard shifted in place. He'd been watching the whole time. Darius inhaled slowly. "Could I speak to the manager, please?" The woman smirked faintly, then turned to her computer. "He's not available. You can call the reservation line if you want to dispute the issue." There it was. The brush-off. Cold, clipped, mechanical. The young man gestured toward the doors. "Sorry, sir, we're fully booked tonight anyway. You might want to try—" Darius held up a hand, not aggressively. "Just enough." "Understood," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm, maybe. He picked up his bag again, gave the room one final glance, the front desk, the lounge where champagne flowed for the right guests, the staff who thought they knew what wealth looked like, and turned to leave. The receptionist turned back to his screen, muttering something under his breath. But Darius didn't flinch. He knew exactly who he was. They just didn't. Yet. The Belmont lobby was quiet again. Another guest had been sent away. Nothing out of the ordinary, at least not to the front desk staff. The receptionist, Eric, leaned back in his chair, cracking his knuckles. "What was that about?" he said to his coworker. "Dunno, walk in or something. No reservation. Probably thought this was one of those pay-by-the-hour joints." They both laughed, short, nervous, the kind that people use to hide the edge in their own words. A bellhop passing by glanced over but said nothing. He'd seen too many things like that in this hotel, and stayed silent too many times. Meanwhile, Darius sat across the street at a quiet cafe with a hot cup of tea untouched in front of him. His phone buzzed softly. "Carla, executive, assistant. Your room is ready. Just check the system. VIP suite under your corporate master account, 3 nights. Should I call ahead?" Darius stared at the screen, then typed back one word. "No." He leaned back and looked at the Grand Hotel across the street. His name was on every cornerstone, just not in a way these employees would ever think to check. That was intentional. His entire ownership model was built around staying invisible. He believed leaders should see everything, but be seen only when necessary. Apparently, now was necessary. Back inside the Belmont, a young woman in a red blazer, the front office manager, walked out of the staff corridor with a clipboard in hand. "Eric," she called out, "did we have a gentleman named Darius King check in today?" Eric looked up, surprised. "No, he didn't have a reservation. Tried to check in without one. I sent him away." The manager frowned. "You what?" Eric blinked. "He didn't have a booking." I checked. The manager flipped her clipboard around. "Corporate just sent me a message. Said Mr. King should have already arrived. He's a VIP guest, Owner-level access. Eric's jaw tightened. Wait, owner level? A long pause. Then came the sound of the front doors sliding open again. Eric turned. Darius King walked in, but not like before. Now, he was in a navy suit, perfectly tailored. He walked with ease, confidence, and the kind of calm that made everyone else feel nervous. A man trailed behind him, carrying a slim leather briefcase. Another older gentleman followed, the regional director of operations. The mood in the lobby shifted like a drop in barometric pressure. The front office manager's eyes widened. Oh my God. Eric swallowed. The man he had dismissed an hour ago? He was back. And he wasn't just a guest. The lobby seemed to shrink in on itself as Darius crossed the floor. Same marble tiles, same chandeliers. But now the air felt tighter. Every employee visible behind the desk stood straighter. Conversations halted. Darius didn't rush. He didn't need to. His silence spoke louder than any entrance. Behind him, his assistant Carla checked her watch. The regional director, Mr. Allen, gave the front desk a flat, unreadable look, but his jaw was clenched. Eric fumbled to speak first. Mr. King, sir? Earlier, when you arrived, there was some confusion with the system. Darius turned to him slowly. Yes, I saw how you handle confusion. Eric's lips parted, but no sound came out. The assistant manager, still holding her clipboard, had gone pale. The front office manager stepped forward. Sir, I want to sincerely apologize for the way you were treated. Had I known... Darius cut her off, not with a raised voice, but with a look. The same one he used in boardrooms, when a CEO tried to deflect accountability. You didn't need to know who I was to treat me with basic respect. Her mouth opened, then closed. There was nothing to say. Not really. Darius turned to Mr. Allen. Have the staff gather in the conference room now. No delay, Allen nodded. Of course, sir. He motioned to a bellhop, who moved quickly. Word spread like electricity through the hallways. Employees emerged, housekeepers, concierge, kitchen leads, front desk. Some confused, others clearly dreading what they already suspected. 15 minutes later, the staff filled the mid-sized conference room just off the executive wing, the same room where employee appreciation lunches were sometimes held. The atmosphere now was entirely different. Darius stood at the front, not behind the podium, just in front of it. No notes, no theatrics. He looked at the room, really looked at them. I walked into this hotel today like any guest would. No entourage, no announcement. I was tired, I was polite. And I was dismissed, no, mistreated, by people who didn't bother to look past the color of my skin or the simplicity of my clothes. Not a single eye dared to look away. He continued, You see, that lobby isn't just marble and glass. It's a test, a mirror, and today, some of you failed it badly. Silence. Even the HVAC system seemed to quiet. Darius paused, then said what they were all waiting for. I own this hotel. And 47 others like it. Gasps. Audible gasps. Someone near the back mumbled, He's the Darius King? He nodded slowly. That's right. Then he gestured toward the door. And now, we're going to have some very honest conversations about what kind of business we run, and what kind of people we keep in it. The room was still, suffocating in its silence. Some stood with arms crossed, others with their hands clasped behind their backs. Most just stared at the floor, hearts pounding, faces hot with shame. Darius let the silence stretch. It wasn't for drama. It was for clarity. Let the discomfort settle. Let them feel the weight of it. Then he spoke. I built this company from the ground up, not with inheritance, not with favors, just vision, grit, and the willingness to show up, even when doors were slammed in my face. I've worn the uniform, I've scrubbed the floors, I've been treated like I didn't belong, too many times to count. His voice didn't rise, but it resonated, deep, controlled, unwavering. And this morning, in a hotel that bears my signature scent, my design touches, and my values, I was treated like a trespasser. He looked at Eric. The young man's face was pale and damp. No smirk now, only shame. I didn't ask for special treatment. I asked for decency. What I received was profiling, arrogance, and disrespect. Not because of my behavior, but because of assumptions. Eric finally whispered, "I'm sorry, sir." Darius turned slightly. "You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for who I turned out to be." A quiet murmur swept the room. Some nodded slowly. The truth hurt. The front office manager stepped forward. "Mr. King, if I may, I didn't know either. But I promise this isn't how we usually operate." It was a mistake. Darius looked at her, unmoved. Then it's a patterned mistake. And those are the worst kind. He turned to his assistant, Carla, who had remained in the back taking notes. "Issue the directive. I want a full audit of all front desk interactions this quarter. Video, audio, guest surveys. I want patterns, not excuses." She nodded. Then Darius faced the group again. "Some of you may lose your positions. Some of you may receive formal warnings. Others may rise. Because moments like this show me who deserves to lead and who only plays the part." The regional director, Mr. Allen, finally spoke. "Mr. King, I take full responsibility for failing to instill your standards here. I should have been more involved." Darius gave a small nod. "And now you will be. Every general manager will complete equity and dignity training, personally overseen, starting with this location." There was no applause, no relief, just reflection. Darius picked up the room key card that had been printed, finally, with his name on it. He looked at it for a second, then back to the staff. Respect isn't reserved for those who look like success. It starts with the ones who walk in quietly, tired from the road, expecting nothing but courtesy. He slid the key into his pocket and left the room, and no one dared look away until the door clicked shut behind him. For the rest of the day, the Belmont no longer felt like a hotel. It felt like a company under inspection. The usual elegance of the lobby faded into a strange stiffness. Phones still rang, bellhops still wheeled luggage to rooms, but everyone moved differently, like they were being watched, because they were. Upstairs, in the executive lounge, Darius met with the hotel's leadership team. This wasn't a conversation, it was a restructuring. The hotel's general manager had flown in from a regional meeting just an hour earlier. He looked exhausted, embarrassed. "I can't begin to express how sorry we are," he said, not for the first time. "This location is supposed to be a flagship." Darius cut him off gently but firmly. "Stop talking like this was an isolated incident. It's not. I've read the internal reports. Too many complaints labeled resolved without action. Too many guests of color noting cold treatment, delayed service, extra scrutiny." He slid a folder across the table. The data was undeniable. None of this started today. Today was just the day I walked in at the wrong hour, in the wrong clothes, and you finally got caught. The manager lowered his eyes. "What do you want me to do?" "I don't want you to do anything," Darius replied. "I want you to step aside." The room went silent. The manager blinked. "You're firing me?" "I'm relieving you," Darius said, calm and clear, "with a severance package. But you don't get to stay and pretend this happened on someone else's watch." The man nodded slowly, ashamed but not surprised. He stood up, shook Darius's hand without a word, and left. Once the door closed, Darius turned to Mr. Allen, the regional director. "I want a total review of all hotel locations across the chain. Not just complaints, culture, hiring practices, front desk behavior, and guest experience, tracked by race, age, gender identity. If we're going to be in the hospitality business, we mean hospitality." Allen took notes, his face dead serious. "You got it. Start here," Darius added. "This hotel becomes our new model. If it changes, the chain changes." By evening, word had spread through the staff like wildfire. Some were scared, some were bitter, but many were quietly relieved. Because the truth was, they'd seen the problems for years, and now someone was finally doing something about them. The assistant manager who had stayed silent during the incident, reassigned pending investigation, the bellhop who witnessed the mistreatment but said nothing, sat down with HR, but also offered to help lead the new onboarding training. The receptionist, Eric, suspended, and not just for the incident, for how he handled it. And as for Darius, he didn't storm through the building or issue threats. He walked calmly, confidently, shaking hands with junior staff, asking questions, taking notes. This wasn't revenge. This was leadership. 3 weeks later, the Belmont felt like a different hotel. The marble still gleamed, the fountain still burbled softly in the center of the lobby, but it was more than aesthetics now. Something deeper had shifted. You could hear it in the tone of voices, see it in the way staff looked each guest in the eye, no matter how they were dressed, what car they drove, or what accent they spoke with. Darius had stayed involved, not just as a figurehead, but as an architect of change. In a sleek glass meeting room on the top floor, a new kind of session was taking place. No budget reviews, no investor calls, just people, front desk workers, housekeeping, kitchen staff, sitting in a circle talking about bias, about race, about what it means to truly serve without assumption. A sign on the wall read, "The welcome starts before the words." Darius had written it himself. He didn't want apologies. He wanted awareness. He stood in front of the group, not elevated, not above, and shared his story. From cleaning motels with his mother as a teenager, to founding the largest black-owned luxury hotel chain in the country. Then he paused and said something no one expected. "The way you treated me, that wasn't just a failure of hospitality. It was a test of character. And while I can't change the past, I can give you the tools to choose better in the future." He announced the new company-wide initiative, the Guest First program, a mandatory paid training course focused on anti-discrimination, empathy, and racial equity in hospitality. It would roll out in all 47 hotels, starting here. Employees who completed it would be eligible for bonuses. Those who excelled could apply for leadership mentorships. He wasn't just changing policy, he was changing opportunity. Meanwhile, news of the story and the transformation had quietly spread beyond the walls of Belmont. Hospitality blogs picked up the headline, "Black Hotel Owner Tests Staff. What Happened Next Changed the Company." Others followed, "A Masterclass in Quiet Power. Respect should never be a luxury." But Darius didn't give interviews. He declined the TV spots. He wasn't interested in being a headline. This wasn't about going viral. It was about going forward. And he wasn't done yet. 1 month later, a quiet Thursday morning, the Belmont Hotel lobby was humming gently, not with tension, but with calm, practiced rhythm. Fresh flowers had just been arranged. The receptionist smiled with her eyes, not just her lips. The bellhop was already offering to help a young woman juggle her suitcase and toddler. And no one was pretending to care. They genuinely did. Across the street, inside an unmarked black SUV with tinted windows, Darius watched the scene unfold. He wasn't here to be seen. He was here to see. Next to him, Carla flipped through her iPad. "Training compliance at this location is at 100%. Guest satisfaction scores are up 31%. And incident reports?" She paused. "0. Darius didn't respond right away. He was watching the front desk. A black couple in their early 60s entered the lobby. They wore church clothes and nervous smiles, like they weren't quite sure they belonged. The receptionist stood up immediately. "Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Langston," she said with a warm, confident voice. "We've been expecting you. May I take your bags and offer you a complimentary welcome drink while we get you settled?" The couple exchanged a surprised glance, then smiled. Deep, grateful smiles. Not just for the hospitality, but for the dignity. Darius let out a slow breath, then nodded to himself. Carla glanced at him. "Shall I schedule your visit with the Miami property next?" He smiled faintly. "In a minute." He rolled down the window just a crack. Enough to hear the breeze, enough to feel the sunlight on his hand, enough to watch the doors of his hotel open the way they were always meant to. For everyone. Not because of their money, not because of their reputation, but because they were people. He didn't need applause. He didn't need credit. He just needed to know that, this time, they got it right.